Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Kansas City.
In sizing up Zach Greinke's year, he hasn't pitched like he did last season, but he's not far off, especially in his last 4 starts with an ERA of 2.1. He has 11 career wins against the Tigers, more than any other American League team. That's who he gets tonight on Fox Sports Kansas City. Yuniesky Betancourt continues to slug his way to a career season. He has home runs in his last 2 games and 15 on the year. He'll try to extend the home run streak tonight in a series against the Detroit Tigers. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And Yuniesky Betancourt has certainly been a surprise for the Royals this year. But to his right tonight is an even bigger surprise. Josh Fields will make his Royals debut. He was pronounced done for the year in spring training.
Well, you're right, Ryan. I was watching him take his ground balls and was really impressed in how he was moving around, taking his ground balls, almost like he's never had a problem at all.
And he has a lot of help on the left side of the infield with the way that Yuniesky Betancourt has been playing on defense. He's about as divisive a figure the Royals have had over the past 10 years. What do you think of his defense?
Well, Ryan, I think his defense has been outstanding this year. You know, you get a guy everybody says is done for his career, and he comes here and he gets rejuvenated. And you watch the plays he's made at shortstop, whether it be double plays, balls to his left, balls to his right. He's been outstanding. And offensively, what can you say about his year there?
Well, what you can say is that he's up there among the Royals in all the major categories, leading the Royals in RBIs. He's just 2 away from a career high, and he'll probably do that, or he has a good chance of doing that at least, against Jeremy Bonderman. He hits .458 against him.
Well, you got to be really excited when you have that one guy that you know if he leaves the ball up out of the plate, you're going to get that base hit that you really need. And this is what Uni does. This is his guy. Bonderman skipped his last start, maybe some rib cage soreness, so maybe he won't be able to get that ball down like he normally does.
So that means his last appearance was against the Royals, and he beat the Royals, going 6 innings. He's going up against Zach Greinke tonight, and we'll talk about him when we come back. Tigers haven't seen Zach Greinke since opening day here at Kauffman Stadium. He went 6 innings. Of course, there was a lot of hype coming off the Cy Young Award. Only gave up 2 runs. One of those runs was earned, but then the bullpen gave up 6 runs, and Zach ended up with a no decision. Here's the Kia report on Zach tonight.
Well, Ryan, he's been strong in his last four outings, 2.10 ERA, and he's been really tough on these Detroit Tigers. His last 7 starts, he's 4-1 with a 0.92 ERA. So the key tonight is really just don't change a thing. Just keep pitching the way you're doing.
So with those numbers, you figure he doesn't need a break against the Tigers. Here's their lineup presented by M&I Bank, but he will get a break. Austin Jackson is not in the lineup, so Will Rhymes will lead off, and no Miguel Cabrera. He has a sore left arm. Not sure how much he'll play in the series. We do know he's not in the starting lineup tonight. So the Royals are getting a look at some young players before the season is over, and the Tigers have gotten a long look at Brendan Bosch this year.
Well, he brings a lot to the table as a young player. He brings size and speed, a very good defensive outfielder in right field, and he's one of those young guys that are there looking to take the Tigers down the road in the future.
And he had an outstanding series against the Royals on their last road trip. The Tigers had an outstanding series against the Royals. They took 2 out of 3, outscoring the Royals by a wide margin, and they had 19 hits in Minnesota last night. It's the Royals and the Tigers, and the first pitch is next. High Definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Royals are on the field, and we go down to Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, the Tigers are on the field as well, and maybe just a little bit tired. A couple of reasons for that. They had a 13-inning game last night in Minnesota that finished up about midnight. Got to their hotel about 3:45 in the morning in Kansas City. Their buses were stuck at the airport behind the Denver Broncos, who were leaving town. They had 6 buses, so they were stuck behind them. Needless to say, the guys, after a long night, a bit tired tonight, where they lost Miguel Cabrera to injury. Johnny Peralta played first base in the middle of that game for the first time in his career. Johnny Damon was going to play left field tonight as well. They've moved him back to DH, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. Well, obviously the NFL travels more than a Major League Baseball team, but 6 buses Wow.
3 of those buses just might be equipment. No, but that's a lot. That's a big entourage for football, for sure. They probably have their bus, the equipment go on semi-trucks.
1 ball and 1 strike on Will Rhymes, who has a 10-game hitting streak. Zach jumps ahead 1-2. So Austin Jackson, who was on base 6 times last night in the Tigers' win against Minnesota, scored 3 times. He gets the night off, so Rhymes leads off. And again, no Miguel Cabrera batting 3rd. That pops out of Pena's glove, and it's still 1-2. 71 degrees, and with the wind out of the northwest, it feels cooler than that. So we're seeing sweatshirts and jackets here tonight. We haven't seen that for a long time. Game started right on time, and the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. Still 1-2 on Will Rhymes, who is one of 10 Tigers this year that has made their major league debut. So at the beginning of the year, you think about this being a young team with a few young starting or an old team with a few starting pitchers that were young. Scott Sizemore was a rookie at second base. Austin Jackson was a rookie in center field. Otherwise, a lot of experience, but 10 playing in the big leagues for the first time this year. Rhymes has fouled off 4 in a row.
I think the thing to point out with a lot of young guys that they brought up, you know, the guys are not only just playing, but they're producing. And I think that's what is good about guys that come up now. They've been in the minor leagues like Rhymes has for a while and learned how to play the game. And he knows how to bunt. He knows how to do the situational things, plays a good second base, and he's swinging the bat well.
And he's giving Zach Greinke a battle. He's fouled off 5 straight, batting at .315. A former 27th round pick of the Tigers, mostly I'm sure because of his size. He is listed at 5'9", but he admits now that he's gotten to the big leagues, he's really not that tall. Drafted out of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. And getting a long look at second base with Carlos Guillen on the disabled list for the 3rd time this year.
If Freddie Patek was here, he'd say, good for him. It's one of your favorite lines. Good for him.
So this will be pitch number 11 to Will Rhymes beginning the game. And Zach makes a nice play, snagging it to his backhand side. So it takes 11 pitches to drag him down to the ground, but Zach retires Will Rhymes.
Zach is just quick as a cat. I mean, he can release the ball and get himself in a fielding position as well as any pitcher in the game. And that play there was not an easy play at all. He's just so quick and so athletic on the mound. I mean, he not only makes that play, but you saw the poise after he made that catch. You know, gave his first baseman time to get to the bag and made a nice throw.
And now a strike to Johnny Damon. And Joel just telling us that Johnny was going to play in left field, but moved to the DH when Gerald Laird was scratched because of stiffness in his lower back. Jim Leland shuffled around a few guys. Two balls and 1 strike. We talked about it in Detroit. This has been a milestone season so far for Johnny Damon. He has collected his 2,500th hit this year, his 1,500th run scored. Still in the Royals' top 10 all-time in runs, hits, doubles, triples, batting average, and stolen bases. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You would think he played a career here. I mean, he had great years after he left here, so you can tell then what he was going to be capable. I think the one thing that really surprised a lot of people was the power numbers. You know, the home runs per se. I mean, 24 home runs last year. You didn't really see that coming, but you saw everything else.
Zach strikes him out. So 2 away in the first inning.
Well, Zach really did a good job here. This ball is right down the middle of the plate. It was down, but that's okay for a left-handed hitter. Pena wanted his ball on the outside. Zach got down the middle of the plate, froze Johnny.
Ball one to Ryan Rayburn, who bats third instead of Miguel Cabrera, who came out of the game last night in Minnesota in the 6th inning with some soreness in his left arm, his left biceps to be exact. So Rayburn is no Miguel Cabrera, but his game really turned in the month of August, getting a chance to play every day. Zach falls behind 3-0. Tigers are feeling good after their win last night. They were down 7-3 at one point. Tied the game in the 9th. Took the lead in the 11th. Minnesota tied it and won it in the 13th. They hit 5 solo home runs last night and had 19 total hits.
You see this curveball here, Ryan. Now, this is a pitch here that really backed up on him and went back into the hitter. But this is where Zach has made a big change, I think, in his last start, when he started throwing that breaking ball for a strike. Not the get me over curveball, but a little bit harder curveball. And he's been getting some called strikes with that, and even throwing his slider for strikes, other than with 2 strikes, has been a change that he made this last start.
Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, so far it's been an easy inning for Zach on one hand. He's only facing his 3rd hitter, but it's been a difficult inning in the number of pitches he's had to throw. This will be number 25. And it's only the 3rd hitter of the game. Rolled to Betancourt. Rayburn is out. Billy Butler stretches. The Tigers thought he came off the bag. And Zach has a 1-2-3 first inning. Result in the last 3-game series against Detroit. Here's the Royals lineup presented by M&I Bank. Mitch Meyer will bat 2nd tonight, and Josh Fields is in the lineup for the first time. Very good numbers for the Royals in the minor leagues as he was rehabbing his surgically repaired hip. Gregor Blanco coming off a 1-for-12 series against the Rangers. He scored 1 run, and that dropped him down to 248.
I think from Blanco's standpoint, the Royals are probably looking for him to be a little bit more consistent. Everything's sort of come in bunches for him. You know, the hits are coming in bunches, and the offers are kind of coming in bunches. So just see if he can get it to level that out and just get it to be a part of his overall game. And that'll make him even a better leadoff hitter.
He was on base, it seemed like, on the last road trip all the time. On base percentage was well over 400. The Royals only got him home twice. So against Jeremy Bonderman back on August the 23rd, Blanco had 2 hits and a double. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A little bit outside. So Blanco works a full count and then works a walk against Jeremy Bonderman. Here's the Kia report.
Well, the Royals are facing a well-rested Jeremy Bonderman, and his last start was against Kansas City back on August 23rd. His walks are down, but his home runs are up. So hopefully that rest, the Tigers feel, might help him in that situation.
Had a start that was scratched because of some tightness on his right side, right rib cage. Ball 1 to Mitch Meyer, who started just 1 game in the Texas series, but he made the most of it with 3 hits and a double. That was on Wednesday night. The Rangers started left-hand pitchers in the first 2 games, C.J. Wilson and Cliff Lee. 2 balls and no strikes. And now the catcher, Alex Avila, out to have a visit with Bonderman. Bonderman got great run support against the Royals back on the 23rd of August. They won that game 12-3 with Bonderman going 6 innings, giving up just 2 runs. Frank was talking about the walks being down. Didn't walk anyone over those 6 innings. And that was the first game after the Royals played what I've been calling that triple header, where they had the 2 games against the White Sox that started at 6, then a day game the next day, then a road trip that started in Detroit.
Well, that was a game where it seemed like all the wheels came off the wagon, and because they'd been playing a lot of close games up until that one game, and it was everybody's opinion that that weekend series with the White Sox really took a lot out of the ball club.
Tigers took 2 out of 3 in that series, but they outscored the Royals 24-8. And now walk to Meyer. So much for the walks being down. Bonderman puts 2 on, and immediately I would think Jim Leland, seeing the way Bonderman has been pitching lately, improving his walks, wonders how much that rib cage might be bothering him. Here are the Tigers defensively. It'll be Rayburn, Wells, and Bosch in the outfield. Inge, Peralta, Rhymes, and Kelly on the infield. Kelly in there for Miguel Cabrera, and Alex Avila behind the plate. And now ball 1 to Billy Butler.
You look at Bonderman's path to the plate, Ryan. It looks like he just doesn't have that straight line to the target, like he's just really spinning off, and that's leaving that arm out, and that's forcing the ball up to the right-handed, to the left-handed hitters, and just pulling the ball down to the right-handers to get to that outside corner.
1-1. Well, pretty good numbers for the Royals in the lineup that they put together tonight, and a good time for Josh Fields to make his Royals debut. 4 out of 9 against Bonderman. 2-1 on Billy, who had just 3 hits in the Rangers series, although they weren't really coming at him. So he took 4 walks, on base 7 times total. He has Blanco at second base, Meyer at first, and he's ahead in the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. 3-1. Got the inside. Billy was getting ready to take the shin guard off and head to first base.
But you can see when Bonderman comes up, Ryan, he just sort of pulls off that pitch and runs in on Billy well off the plate. A lot of his balls going to stay on arm side because he's not getting down through it and just spinning off.
And he may have swung at ball 4, but sometimes that happens when the pitch before appears to be out of the strike zone.
Well, I think Scott Berry's really shown Billy that, anything close, you better swing the bat right here. And based on the pitches that he's called strikes so far. So I think Billy right now definitely has to be in a protect mode.
But as you said so many times, don't leave it in the hands of the umpire.
Now, I'd rather strike out myself than go back to the bench blaming the umpire.
And a slider is lined to right field. It stays up for Bosch. He goes down to his knees and then gets up quickly. So no further advance, and tough hitting luck for Billy. That is out number 1.
That's one of those plays when you got speed and you're on second base. If it's going to be a base hit, you probably won't be able to score. So you got to go right back to the bag and tag up right away. And the way you saw where Blanco went down the line and really wasn't ready to tag up and go to third base. Once he catches his ball and falls down, then the guy with speed, that would give him enough time to get over to third base. But you can see when the ball's caught, you can see where Blanco, he's just going back to the bag at that point.
All 1 to Wilson Betemit. He was quiet during the Rangers series, just 2 out of 12, and without an RBI, so they pitched him well. Betemit, one of the few Royals tonight who has not done well against Bonderman. He's just 1 out of 10. One ball, 1 strike. Kansas City Star did a nice piece today on Wilson Betemit and the chance that he has gotten this year with the Royals. And a lot of time spent in the piece about his age. Now everyone thinks he's in his mid to late 30s. Tigers turn the double play. So back-to-back walks given up by Bonderman, but no runs. Breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Thoroughbred Ford, take advantage of the model year of the end savings right now at Thoroughbred Ford. Now give my boyfriend luck. Oh, my boyfriend back. I thought I saw luck.
That
thing's got Couldn't really tell from the angle there, but the thing had some lights on it or something like that. I mean,
she wanted to make sure that we saw her tonight, and she just told her boyfriend no more sports. Well, I guess he must not like football and basketball and hockey. Maybe just a baseball.
There we go.
fan.
Baseball season's over, and he shuts it down.
Judging from the sign, he's probably got orders.
One ball, two strikes on Brennan Bosch. His opportunity has come lately with Maglio Ordonez done for the year with a broken ankle. Third round pick of the Tigers out of the University of California. One of the 10 rookies this year that has made his major league debut. Got a double for his first major league hit and hit a grand slam for his first major league home run. Fouled it off of his foot, and that went a long way for a guy fouling it off of his foot.
He's a big guy, and he really lets that bat go. I mean, he's an aggressive hitter, and when he hits the ball, it's going to do something. He's 14 home runs, 62 RBI. That's not bad. That's not a bad start.
Good pitch in on the hands and an easy play for Josh Fields. Tonight's number for the Take the Field sweepstakes is 46. And if you'd like to win a pair of replica Royals jerseys, go to foxsportskansascity.com during tonight's game and enter the sweepstakes, including number 46. There's a jersey winner every game.
Wilson Bettamy, number 1.
Fields, nice play, turns all the way around and has plenty of time to throw out Johnny Peralta.
It's hard to imagine that Josh Fields had any type of anything this year, but I mean, just coming off that hip surgery and I mean, making a play like that. I mean, just backhanding the ball right on your feet. But look how quickly he gets up, Ryan. Braces himself with his right arm, gets right up, gets his shoulder square, makes a nice throw to first base. That's good quickness right there. So it tells you that he is well. He's ready to play.
He was surprised as well that he was able to come back this year. He was under the impression that he was done for the season. He said it was right around the 4th of July that he went in for a series of tests and was rehabbing. That the doctors told him, you know, you're far ahead of schedule here. Maybe we can get you back to the field. Started playing in Surprise with one of the Royals rookie league teams. Went up to AA Northwest Arkansas. Continued to play well. Hit 400, over 400. And now here he is with a position that is up in the air for 2011.
I think a lot of guys who have participated in this season who have an opportunity to make this club next spring, they'll have a lot to think about this winter in terms of their preparation and getting ready for that challenge coming into spring training.
Zach to the bag in front of Don Kelly. So Zach's begun his night by retiring the first 6. sprint. What team has failed to meet expectations the most? One of those teams being the Detroit Tigers. Or is it the Los Angeles Angels, who figured they would be 4 games below 500 in early September? The Dodgers are fading away. And the New York Mets. Josh Fields in his Royals debut has a great defensive play, and now his first hit under his belt, and we're only in the 2nd inning.
Well, we get a look at Josh Fields at third base, Ryan, and you saw a really nice play that he made to his backhand side, and then he came back and got his first base hit, hanging breaking ball.
Alex is out in front. No balls, 1 strike. Alex drove in 3 runs in the Rangers series. Now, he wouldn't go and steal a base, would he? I mean, that would be like the trifecta. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, you get the hit out of the way, you get the good defensive play out of the way.
He's probably fired up. I mean, he's probably so excited to be in the major leagues this year and playing. I mean, everybody just felt he was done, and we'd be trying to take a look at him next spring or in the instructional league or somewhere in winter ball. But I mean, for him to come back and be moving the way he's moving, not only was the surgery a success, but I think his rehab, you know, they always say the surgery is the easy part, but just the rehab is the hard part. So it means he put in a lot of work and a lot of time to get himself to where he is right now today.
Going through this year what Alex Gordon went through last year. Alex's injury coming after the season began, and the Royals diagnosed Josh Fields' injury in spring training. Speaking of Alex's hip, he says doesn't even notice it anymore. In fact, he doesn't even do the same rehab exercises he was doing last year. Still will do some exercises to keep the area strong, but it's really not even a factor.
You look at the surgeries today versus the surgeries when I first started playing. I mean, you'd be done probably in the 60s and 70s with hip surgery. You'd probably be out of the game. Just like the knee surgeries, you know, now guys can come back and play. Where back in those days when guys had those real bad knee injuries, they were done. They were never the same. Guys like Killebrew and Olivo and guys like that, they were done.
And now it's commonplace with Tommy John surgery to take a ligament from one part of the body and transplant it into the elbow.
Well, in Tommy John's case, Tommy John was a power pitcher when he got hurt, and then he came back and he didn't throw harder. When Frank Tanana had his surgery, he didn't throw harder when he came back either. So it must be some newfound thing in there.
So Bonderman having big-time control problems. He has faced 6 and walked 3. He was able to get out of a mess in the first inning after walking Blanco and Meyer. He got Butler on a line out to right, and then Wilson Betemit grounded into a double play. So 2 straight innings now. The Royals have had 2 on and nobody out. And Brian Pena was thinking about laying down a bunt.
Well, we know he will do it, and this is really not a bad situation for the Royals to bunt if they want to bunt. That's one of the options that they have with Brian Pena at the plate right now.
Swinging away and driving it to right center field, getting some help from the wind. It's over Bosch's head. Coming around third is Fields. Alex Gordon is held at third base. He was right behind Josh Fields. So it's an RBI double for Brian Pena. And maybe the hardest work on that play was Eddie Rodriguez trying to separate Josh Fields and Alex Gordon.
I have no clue how he got Alex stopped. They were like 5 feet behind each other. You see this fastball down the middle here, 90 miles an hour. And Brian really turned on this pitch. He's swinging the bat well since he started playing on a regular basis. And Bosch got a late break on this ball, Ryan, but he probably didn't have a chance to catch this ball anyway. But you see right here, Fields was working hard to try to get his feet in place to make that turn, and Alex was right there. So for Eddie Rodriguez to get him stopped, that was a heck of a job right there.
And now second and third, nobody out. And a strike to Chris Getz. Chris missed the entire Texas series. Mike Aviles was at second base. So this time the Royals score a run after getting 2 on and nobody out. And now 1 ball, 1 strike on Getz. Two balls and 1 strike. And Bonderman snaps at that throw back from Avila, so he's not happy with the way he's throwing.
He's leaving a lot of balls to the arm side, and I think that's where the frustration comes, Ryan. He's not giving himself a chance to get out over his body and get that straight line to the target. He's spinning off a little bit and leaving that arm up, and everything seems to be running away.
Outside, 3 balls, 1 strike.
That's one of the things that a catcher can help a pitcher with. He's really going arm side to a lot of pitches. So rather than go outside and expect to pitch on the outside corner, I mean, with his sinker, the way his ball's running, just sit in the middle of the plate and let the ball run from there. He's got to worry about trying to hit the corner and make a good pitch at the same time. That's hard to do.
Fly ball into shallow left center field. Alex is tagging. Wells gets behind it. And the throw most likely would have thrown out Alex, so a good decision to hold him. And no reason to gamble with nobody out. Getz loses an opportunity for an RBI.
Casper Wells has a very good throw on him also, Ryan, and he does a good job mechanically here. And fundamentally, he gets behind this fly ball, and he's ready to go as soon as he comes through that ball. So that would have been a really, really bang play at the plate. And up the line in that case is probably better.
So second and third, 1 out. And now Yuniesky Betancourt. Homered in the last 2 games of the Rangers series, giving him 15 this year. That's 6 more than his previous career high. And a well-placed base hit here. He could drive in 2 and tie his career high in RBIs with 67. And he's already 11 out of 24 against Jeremy Bonderman. And into left center field. That will drop. Pena will be waved home. Wells' throw is going to be cut off. Betancourt to second. He's safe. And the Royals have a 3-0 lead.
Well, when you got a pitcher's number, you hold it for a long time, and Neely does a good job here right on this changeup. He does a good job just getting just a little bit part of the bat on it. He was out front a little bit, but was able to get it out into the outfield. Wells comes over, makes a strong throw, but it runs up the line, and Don Kelly does the next best thing he can do, but Uni was able to beat the throw into second base. You can see him go around, he watches the throw, and then he hustles into second base.
And Yuniesky Betancourt is safe at second base. Safe and secure, New York Life. Now fouled away by Gregor Blanco. It's a single for Betancourt, down to second on the throw home, so he does tie his career high in RBIs with 67. And now he's in scoring position for Gregor Blanco, who led off the bottom of the first inning with a walk, followed by a walk to Mitch Meyer, but the Royals were unable to turn that into anything. In this inning, Bonderman has faced 5, 4 have reached, 3 have scored. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
We talk a lot about sinker ballers and how they really want to stay in the center of the plate and let the ball work for them. But here, Vila's got him trying to throw it to the corner, and the ball's running right on off the plate, so they have trouble getting it over the plate. You get in the middle, and you just got to let the ball do what it does.
Drilled to right center field. Bosch was shallow. And Blanco is going to think about 3. He is in there with an RBI triple, and the Royals have a 4-0 lead.
Right, this ball didn't break at all. I mean, this didn't do anything. It just stayed right in Blanco's swing path here, down and in. He does a good job turning on this fastball. And then Bosch had no chance to move. The ball was already by him. And, with his speed, he's going to be, really testing third base. He usually knows he's going to score early here. No problem at all. And Blanco never quits running. He goes right around second base, short turn, and then to third base very easily.
So Gregor Blanco is safe at third base. Safe and secure, New York life. Pitching coach Rick Knapp is out to chat with Bonderman, and they're going to work in the Tiger bullpen. Alfredo Figueroa just starting to play catch. And while they talk it over, we'll tell you that coming up on Sunday, September the 19th, the first 8,000 fans age 14 and under will receive custom Royals silly bands. That's the Royals and the Indians at 110. To get your tickets, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Now the infield is in for the Tigers. They realize with Zach Greinke on the mound, this can't go much further. A 4-run second inning. Pena, Betancourt, and Blanco have driven in runs. Betancourt has 2 RBIs. A broken bat. Here comes Blanco to the plate, and he is out. And Blanco yelling at himself as he crossed home plate. Maybe he believed that he should have recognized that he was going to be out sooner and got into a rundown. But he went through with the play and was out easily.
Well, that's right, Ron. A couple things could have happened here. That being one of them, and the other, maybe he's just not supposed to go. Maybe he had to make the ball go through the infield sign, and it goes anyway. And I think that's where the mistakes can make it. You described one of them, and that was the other one that he could have done wrong.
And that's through the left side for Billy Butler. Now, Billy hit into tough luck in the first inning, lining out to right field. And with his base hit to left, that means the Royals will have 9 come to the plate. And it means that Billy Butler has at least 1 hit now in 95 consecutive series. So 1 away from Willie Wilson's team record. Wilson Betemit ended the bottom of the first inning, grounding into a 3-6-3 double play. And Bonderman throws a slider for a strike. Popped up. It is that time of night where it's hard to find the ball, and that's exactly what's happening to Rayburn, but he discovers it in the sky. The inning is over. The Royals score 4. base coach, talking over the play with Gregor Blanco, where he was out at the plate on a ground ball from Mitch Meyer. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. The lowest ERAs against the Tigers since 1952. And Zach Greinke, second only to Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan. Great play in right field. Mitch Meyer, with that football mentality, makes the catch and then slams into the barrier wall.
Well, you know, Mitch is not afraid of the wall, and he'll do anything to try to make a catch, and he does the same thing here. I mean, just fortunate now that padding's on there helps him a little bit. But he goes sliding knee first into the wall. Outstanding concentration on this play.
So Zach trying to trim away his pitch count. He needed 25 to get through the first, even though he only faced 3 batters. 11 of those to Will Rhymes. With 12 pitches in the second. And he gets the first out of the third on only 1 pitch. It's 0-2 on Alex Avila, who is going to be the designated hitter, and Gerald Laird, who had the game-winning hit for the Tigers last night in Minnesota with a home run in the 13th inning. He was scratched with stiffness in his lower back. So Avila goes behind the plate. He almost just killed someone in his own dugout. A little tardy on that last fastball. Still 0-2. So Zach Greinke's second only to Nolan Ryan as far as lowest ERA against the Tigers since 1952, and right behind him another Royal, Brett Saberhagen. And so far Zach with 2 scoreless innings tonight.
From a pitcher's perspective, when you foul a fastball off like Avila did right there, and they go right over his own dugout, and you say, well, I got to throw another fastball, see if I got something going right here.
2-2.
Just didn't get it, just didn't throw the strike, but you got to, when a guy does that, do that, Ryan, you got to really let them show that they can get the bat head out on your fastball before you go to something different. And Zach came back with 2 fastballs. They weren't strikes, so we don't know for sure right now.
He went around.
We do now.
No need for an appeal down to third base. Scott Berry, the home plate umpire, ruled that Avila went too far. That's Zach's second strikeout.
I think Zach recognized that his fastball was a little bit too much for Avila right at this particular time, so he went back with 3 straight, and this one had a good run to it, a good run away, and they just got that check swing, got that called third strike.
So 2 down to Casper Wells, who had a huge thrill last night. He will always remember his first major league home run. Doesn't matter who he hit it against or when it happened. But he hit it last night, and it was a game-tying home run in the 9th inning. Hit it off of Jesse Crane, who was pitching the 9th for Minnesota. Not Matt Capps, not Brian Fuentes. And huge explosion, which distracted Zach Greinke in the middle of his pitching motion. And right now fans turning their heads left, right, up, down, trying to figure out where that came from. Didn't affect him too much. He hits the outside corner, 1-2.
Well, if he was in the stretch and there was a runner on base and he stops like that, it's probably a balk. I'm not sure what that is.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him with a hard slider down and away. 3 perfect innings so far for Zach tonight. 4-0 Royals to the bottom of the third inning, and this is Clark Smith, who lives in Independence, Missouri, a World War II veteran who was involved in several battles, including the D-Day invasion of Normandy and the Battle of the Bulge. Upon returning from the war, Clark worked for Amoco for 40 years, retiring in 1982. He has been recognized for his service by the Harry S. Truman Good Neighbor Foundation and has received 2 presidential citations, 2 Bronze Stars for bravery and valor, and a Bronze Arrowhead for the invasion of Europe. So that is a walking, living history book sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat at tonight's game. As Josh Fields flies out to right field. Josh led off the second inning with a single, and that was just the beginning of a 4-run rally. Royals batted all 9. Brian Pena drove in a run. Yuniesky Betancourt drove in 2. And Gregor Blanco had an RBI. Alex Gordon walked and scored. Jeremy Bonderman is just a couple of years removed from a very serious operation on his right shoulder. He had a blood clot removed in 2008, and then was still having troubles with his shoulder last year, and spent a couple of stints on the disabled list. Only pitched in 8 games last year. This is his 25th game of this season. Tigers have been very careful with him as far as innings go. He's averaging less than 6 innings per start, and he's only gone over 6 innings in just one of his last 11 starts. Back in 2003, he made his major league debut for the Tigers at the age of 20. Broken bat. And a 2-hopper to Kelly. He'll go to the bag himself. 2 down. Big 12 football returns to Fox Sports Kansas City this week. Tomorrow is the, well, tomorrow I believe is the, no, it is the Mizzou Illinois game. I got my days mixed up here. Sorry about that. The arch rivalry game in St. Louis. Live coverage from the Edward Jones Dome starts at 11 a.m. with the Boulevard Brewing Rivalries live pregame show. That starts at 11 a.m. By the time you unravel all those words, it's time to go to commercial. Brian Pena with a double to right center field, and then he came around to score on Yuniesky Betancourt's 2-run base hit. Three balls and 1 strike. Talking to Brian before the game tonight, and this is about the time last year that the Royals started to give him a long look. He was getting a chance to catch when the Royals realized that Miguel Olivo and John Buck wouldn't be back, and then games when he wasn't behind the plate, he was the designated hitter. So in some ways similar this year as to last year. Didn't get a lot of playing time early in the season, but it works out for him in the end, and now he's going to be splitting time behind the plate with Lucas May. So Bonderman has walked 4, and the Royals have a runner at first with 2 down for Chris Getz. And that's through the left side, a base hit. Getz is 1 for 2.
A nice swing by Chris Getz here, Brian. He doesn't try to do anything but just track this ball to left field and stays right all over the pitch. And that's how you hit a ball the other way. You just can't pull off of it. You stay right on top of it, drive it through the hole, and that's what he does right here. Watch his upper body, just stays right there. Nice piece of hitting.
And now Yuniesky Betancourt, who hit a 2-run single and came around to score in the 4-run second inning. Over the inside, strike one. It was 2007 when Betancourt had 9 home runs, 67 RBIs, and hit .289. That was his best season before this year. Now he has 15 home runs to go with 67 RBIs. He still has a ways to go to match his doubles total. He would need 13 more. Batting average right now is .269. In on the hands and a routine fly ball to left field. Rayburn's got it, and the Royals strand 2 in the 3rd inning. Far, a 4-0 lead. Zach Greinke has pitched 3 perfect innings. Not that he needs any help against the Tigers. 11-5 in his career against them. But for him, this early in the game, that would be a huge lead. Will Rhymes leads off, drives it to center field. Blanco running back, almost went too far, but is able to find it. Will Rhymes is 0 for 2. Here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. And a couple of years ago, it would be a better comparison. Jeremy Bonderman was 95, 96 with his fastball, 92 tonight. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Zach struck out Johnny Damon looking in the 1st inning. And down quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. When we were in Detroit during the last road trip, the big news there was whether Johnny Damon would accept a trade from the Tigers to the Red Sox. He said he would not accept it. So Tigers fans and his teammates were happy to hear that. No guarantee, however, that Johnny will be back with the Tigers next year.
But he really felt that with the young guys coming up, he thought the time he had left here, if he doesn't come back next year, he really thought that he could really make an impression on the young guys coming up. And that was one of the big reasons he stayed, because those guys that asked him to stay and be a mentor to them throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah, and one might think, well, why wouldn't you go to Boston? I mean, they're in it. They've fallen back quite a bit since. They're 8 games back in the East, but of course Johnny played there, so he's been there, done that. Won a World Series with the Red Sox. He's won a World Series with the Yankees. Spring training is not far from his home. He lives in the Orlando area, and Lakeland just down the road. But then again, who knows where he'll be next year. By switching from left field to DH right before the game started, Johnny now in his last 4 games against the Royals has been as the designated hitter. And he battles after falling behind 0-2 and takes a walk, and that's the Tigers' first base runner.
Well, Zach had been throwing so many pitches on the outer half of the plate, Ryan, and now he tried to sneak this fastball on the inside corner when it was actually supposed to go away, but he does catch the inside corner. So he's more or less trained Scott Barry to follow him tonight, and now all of a sudden he's hitting that glove, and all of a sudden hits the ball on the inside corner. His eyesight's probably still on the outside corner.
And that's a long way to reach for the glove, even though it was a strike.
Right. But you think that, with him sitting on the inside part of the plate, that inside corner would be a lot easier to call than the ball going away from him on the outside corner.
So Zach is out of the stretch for the first time tonight. Rayburn grounds it to second. Gets to Betancourt. Betancourt to Butler. So Zach has still faced the minimum. The Royals have a 4-0 lead. Is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. And it is a cool night, comparatively speaking, in Kansas City tonight. Of course, if this game was played in April, we'd be talking about how warm it was today, but since we're so close to the hot days of the summer, and especially this summer, it feels cool. So long sleeve shirts, light jackets, and sweatshirts all throughout the ballpark tonight.
It really feels good, though. The nice little breeze this afternoon was really nice during batting practice.
And even some blankets. 2-1 on Blanco. He walked in the first inning, and the Royals let an opportunity slip away with back-to-back walks to begin the first. But then in the second inning, the Royals scored 4, and Blanco had an RBI triple in that inning. 2-2 now against Bonderman. Royals with 4 runs on 6 hits. 5 of those hits coming in the second inning. The Tigers, no runs, no hits in their 4 innings. And Blanco works another full count. Mitch Meyer is on deck. He'll be followed by Billy Butler. Got him with a hard slider in the dirt. Bonderman strikes out his first. The second girls' night out of the season, presented by Chevy, is coming up on Saturday, September the 18th at 3:30 before the Royals take on Cleveland, and that's a 6:10 game. There will be chocolate fountains, massages, a Macy's fashion show, dueling pianos courtesy of Howl at the Moon, and much more. Plus, the first 10,000 ladies through the gates will receive a Royals knit cap. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Meyer on the ground to first, and Kelly down the line to get him. That's the second time in his last 2 plate appearances that Mitch has grounded out to Kelly.
Kelly's looked really smooth over there at first base too, Ryan. He's making these plays look real easy. He goes to his left, and after Mitch hits his ball down the line, he just gets a good jumps, keeps his balance, and knows right away he's got a chance to take this play himself. Now that's the guy that doesn't play a ton of first base, but he looks like he's been there all the time. That 3-6-3 double play was awesome too. They played early in the year. Early in the game.
Billy Butler is lined to right field and single to left. So his streak continues of at least 1 hit in consecutive series. Now it's at 95, and that's driven to center, but right at Wells. And that's the quickest inning that Jeremy Bonderman has had tonight. Four hitless innings so far for Zach Greinke.
Well, Zach's been great. He's been really aggressive with his fastball, Ryan, and he's really mixed his breaking ball in well, too. Everything's working for him, changeup, slider, and his fastball.
So going back now in the top of the 5th inning, the Tigers with just 1 base runner so far. And that was a 1-out walk to Johnny Damon in the 4th. So Zach had retired the first 10. Fouled away by Brendan Bosch. He popped out to 3rd in the 2nd inning. So 1 walk and 3 strikeouts so far.
Well, that's been a big difference. That first pitch slider right there was actually a slider for a strike. And Zach right now has been able to throw that slider without bouncing it early in the count to try to get early strikes. But, you know, and he follows that with a good changeup that's got good down movement going away. But I think that's been a difference I've noticed in this last start, Brian, is that the slider has been more of a strike pitch for him than it has been in the past.
Again, in on the hands. Bosch couldn't get his arms extended. And Betancourt goes out into shallow left center field. 1 away.
Taco Bell shows us this pitch is on the inside part of the plate after going with a slider and a changeup away, and Zach's powering his fastball at 96 miles an hour. And Bosch just a little too long on that fastball. The unit goes out. He's calling it right away, and he's still backing up. But you know, I really would like to see that, you know, outrun that ball and then turn and then make that catch. I would like to see an infielder stay sideways until they know they got that. Once they turn their back, start backing up, now the outfielder has a hard time hearing you call it, and then he has so you don't know which way to go. When he comes in, you hear him behind you call the ball. You don't know which way to go. You stay on the side, you can make that adjustment.
I was just going to say that even though Zach hadn't allowed a hit, there are a couple of hard hit balls from the Tigers tonight, and one of them was from Johnny Peralta back in the 2nd inning on a ground ball in that area, but Josh Fields made a nice play to take a hit away from Peralta, and this time he gets it through the hole.
Well, he hits it hard too, Ryan, and I'm glad you didn't say it before the swing, but but you know, Josh Fields only had a chance to just take one step. That ball is through by Unieski, and that ball's hit hard.
The other hard hit ball, Will Rhymes leading off the 4th, lined out to center field. Other than that, Zach's been in control. And after the base hit, he's ahead 1 strike on Don Kelly. One ball, 1 strike. Two and one on Don Kelly, who's out of the Pirates system, a former 8th-round pick from the Pittsburgh area, and had a huge thrill last year when he got to the big leagues, and the Tigers' first base coach was his favorite player growing up, Andy Van Slyke, who is no longer with the coaching staff. Tom Brookins is now the first base coach, and Chris Getz can't quite stretch out to get the ground ball, so it's a base hit to right, and 2 on with 1 out. Well, we hope you'll join the Royals for the annual Viva Los Royals celebration on Tuesday, September the 14th. That's a 7:10 game. The Royals will be hosting the Oakland A's. There will be live music, dancing, and much more. Also, the first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a Joaquin Soria t-shirt presented by Sprint. For details, visit Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. That's Kelly from the Royals K crew modeling the Viva Los Royals t-shirt. So 2 on 1 out, and now Brandon Inge. He fouled out to Mitch Meyer his first time up, and one of the better defensive plays of the game. Mitch going sliding up against the wall in foul territory off the right field side. No swing, 2 balls, no strikes. First base umpire is Dan Isonia. Inge has grounded into 10 double plays this year. Good movement on that pitch, and so much so that it popped out of Brian Pena's glove.
Well, that was late too, and he's throwing these hard running fastballs. Right, you don't usually see a fastball run like that at 96. Zach, that's 2-seamer. This ball just really takes off back inside, and and just handcuff Bryant behind the plate.
That movement plus 96 miles an hour. Go get him. Back with the same pitch. That got more of the plate. But an easy out to right field. The runners stay put. And that's 2 outs. Let's get an update from tonight's Sprint You Call It question. What team has most failed to meet expectations this year? 55% going with the Angels. And then a tie with the Tigers and the Dodgers. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A for the Tigers, B for the Angels, C for the Dodgers, D for the Mets. Not a very good year of baseball in Southern California. Outside of the Padres.
I think the Mets were a team that was also they thought would do a lot better than they're doing this year.
It's about 3 years straight now.
Yeah, I mean they've been above 500, but they just haven't been able to put it all together, either through injuries or just guys underachieving. But the payroll's always been up there, and it's a payroll that's been expected to win. You know, Beltran's had a hard time staying healthy, and that's one part of it.
Alex Avila struck out in the 3rd inning.
Well, Taco Bell showed us 2 Fox tracks. I mean, this is just an outstanding changeup. You see this ball come right out of it, off his fingertips. And, you know, Ryan, Zach's changeup tonight, you know, is registering around 90 miles an hour. So that would definitely be in the power changeup category. But it's really diving down underneath the bat. You know, if you listen hard enough on Zach's fastballs, you can hear him grunt, you know, when he let the ball go. You know, he's really putting everything he has in every one of those fastballs that he throws up there.
We were showing you earlier that Zach has the 2nd lowest ERA against the Tigers since 1952. The only pitcher who has a lower ERA is Nolan Ryan, who is known for his grunting. Avila lifts it to left. Alex Gordon is there. Tigers get their first hits, but they lead 2 in the 5th inning. Question, shall we? Who are the 5 first-round draft picks in the starting lineup tonight for the Royals? It'll be Wilson Betemit, Josh Fields, and then Alex Gordon. Royals got all 4 of their runs in the second inning. They batted 9. Brian Pena with an RBI double. Yuniesky Betancourt has a 2-run single. And Gregor Blanco has driven in a run with a triple. Wilson Betemit, though, is feeling left out. He is 0 for 3 so far tonight. And speaking of 0 for 3, here's Joe Goldberg. I don't know what that means, but
I don't either. It doesn't sound like a very good night for me, but that's okay. Good night for Josh Fields. Obviously, he's had some highlights in this one, a hit, nice defensive play, but most importantly, he's back out there playing after the hip surgery. Talking to him today, and he said that, not a whole lot of pressure for him. He's not going to be nervous or anything like that. He said the difference, obviously, from the minor league rehab is bigger stadium, more media to talk to here. But otherwise, he said he just wants to go out there and show what he can do. Just go out there and play. He has a new appreciation for coming to the field because of the injury and the time that he spent out. But he also said, and I thought this was interesting, guys, that he has a new appreciation for going out there and just having fun and not worrying about the results. Just go out there expecting to win. He got that appreciation from the guys he was playing with, the young kids at Northwest Arkansas.
Well, we talked about that the other night, Joel. What a thrill it is for those guys at AA. They had Vance Wilson last year, a veteran, as that team was playing well, and now they're headed to the playoffs this year. Not only does Josh Fields have the thrill of getting a chance to play this year when he thought it was a lost year, but a lot of those players who we expect to see here in Kansas City at some point get a chance to be around a guy that spent a lot of time in the big leagues.
Well, that's true, Ron. You go through the minor leagues, you get to the major leagues, and you have some success early, and all of a sudden you struggle. Then you move to a different ball club. You get hurt. So there's a lot of things to worry about in terms of your career. Then you go to AA, where all these guys are looking upward, and all of a sudden they see you, and you look at those guys and say, well, that's how this game used to be. This game used to be fun before I got to the big leagues, and I went through all these struggles. So I think right now it's like throw caution to the wind and just go out and just have fun and play.
And if you've seen the movie Bull Durham, there's that scene when they're on the bus and they don't realize that Kevin Costner had actually been in the big leagues. And as soon as they found out that he had been in the big leagues, everyone wanted to hear all the stories. What was it like? And he goes on about how you don't carry your own bags in the big leagues, your own luggage. The baseballs are white during batting practice. And I'm sure Josh Fields got several of those questions, wanting to know what the travel's like and what the hotels are like and what the food's like compared to the minor leagues. Well, Alex Gordon is one of those.
It's got to be a trick in there someplace. I've got Butler, Meyer, Gordon, Zach, Betemit, Hochaver. So somebody, there's a trick in there someplace.
In the lineup tonight, Josh Fields.
That's the trick.
The White
I
Sox.
didn't read it well enough.
And Alex Gordon takes his second walk of the night. And Jeremy Bonderman, and we were talking about how he has reduced his walks this year. He has 5 tonight in less than 5 innings. So Gordon at first, and now Brian Pena. Brian had a lot of nice things to say about Jason Kendall for the game tonight and how much he's learned from him, especially in game preparation. Never had any idea how much Jason Kendall prepared for the game, watching his pitcher, watching the opposing lineup. So he's gained a lot from Kendall, and now playing for him with Kendall out for the year. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Thoroughbred Ford. Get a great deal on an F-150 with model year-end savings right now at Thoroughbred Ford. All 4 runs for the Royals coming in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Tigers didn't get a base runner until the 4th and a hit until the 5th. So Zach Greinke will get Casper Wells, the number 9 hitter, and then Will Rhymes and Johnny Damon. Grounded to Fields. 1 pitch, 1 out. Wells is 0 for 2. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk. Our director tonight is Dean Andruck. Associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson. And the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. Will Rhymes is grounded back to Zach and lined out to center field. And now he lines back to Zach. And as far as Will Rhymes is concerned, there are 3 Zach Greinkes on the field tonight.
Well, watch how he lands, Ryan. He just lands in a great fielding position, and that's where most pitchers should be like when they get through. And it's his glove side, which helps a lot too, because that's what he's going to be facing when he lands. It's to his glove side. But see how he gets that right foot down, and he's in good fielding position to make that play. I don't think anybody in the game can make that play any better.
And he made equally as impressive a play reaching to the other side on a ground ball from Will Rhymes in the 1st inning. He needs only 5 pitches to get through the 6th inning, so Zach just keeps rolling along, and the Royals lead 4-0. Well, they started early on us, and Chris Getz surprised the Tigers with a beautiful bunt to the 3rd base side for his 2nd hit. The Royals get some speed at first base, leading off the bottom of the 6th.
Well, he just catches Brandon ends deep at 3rd base. He does a good job of just getting the ball down on the end of the bat. And when you try to bunt for a base hit, you want to try to get a little bit close to the line. But when you catch a 3rd baseman back like that, where you can't even make a play, then that's a smart move by Chris Guest, recognizing the situation.
That's his 5th hit this year by way of a bunt. And he has 13 stolen bases. So Bonderman has really battled tonight. He has only had one 1-2-3 inning. He gave up all 4 runs in the 2nd inning, and the Royals had him on the ropes. Tigers were getting ready in the bullpen. There's a bullet to Inge. He backhands it down to Rhymes for 1, and Rhymes turns it for a double play.
Well, Brandon Inge made that play look like it was nothing. I mean, this ball is really smoked, and I mean, he just goes and backhands this ball and comes up with a strike to Rhymes at second base. And that double play was a lot simpler than it looked.
So the Tigers have turned 2 double plays. And a curveball for a strike to Gregor Blanco, who has walked, and he has an RBI triple. One and one. Fouled off the left field line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Royals and Tigers are even this year. 6 wins apiece. The Royals were ahead in the season series until the last road trip when Tigers took 2 out of 3, and the Royals still have another trip back to Detroit. Bonderman faces 3, strikes out his 2nd, and at the end of 6, the Royals lead 4-0. With model year-end savings right now at Thoroughbred Ford. Four 4-0 Royals. Tigers with just 2 hits in 6 innings and none until the 5th. Zach Greinke retired the first 10. Johnny Damon walked in the 4th. And then Ryan Rayburn, who bats now, grounded into a double play. So Zach had seen the minimum through 4. And with 1 out in the 5th inning, Peralta and Kelly singled. And now Zach has retired the last 5. Two balls and 1 strike. 3-1. Zach has a couple of impressive streaks working right now in regard to home runs. He has not given up a home run to the Tigers in 66 innings. He has not given up a home run, period, in his last 54 innings. And remember earlier in the year when his numbers weren't matching up to last season, one number that really stood out was all the home runs that he gave up. He's turned that around. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Zach's ERA in his last 4 starts, 2.10, and that might remind you of what he did last year when he finished the season with a 2.16 ERA. So when you look at the whole span of work in 2010, it really doesn't compare to what he did all of last year, but recently he's looked a lot like he did last year.
I mean, he really hasn't let the state of the team really affect the way he's gone about going out there and pitching. He's really gone out there and kept his team in the game every time out. And, you know, you look back over his last 10 outings, only 2.4 runs average per game for him. And I think that's where you really tell how well he's been pitching, is that he hasn't got any run support, but yet he's out there pitching quality starts every time out. And his quality starts are less than 3 runs per 6 innings.
He has the 5th worst run support among American League starters this year. Rayburn has a good plate appearance. Zach walks his second, and the Tigers have the leadoff man on. And let's go to Joe Goldberg.
We had another edition, guys, of Real Royals Trivia today. We'll have another one on the next Friday home game, and had a good time. As always, some great contestants today. The winner was Patrick Windsor of Kansas City. He answered these 2 questions right. Who has the most career wins as a Royal versus the Tigers? The answer was either Dennis Leonard or Brett Saberhagen. Who has the most hits in a game as a Royal versus the Tiger? He got that right. It was Joe Randa, 6. He finished in a tie. Here was the tiebreaker question. If you guys were paying attention, you'll be okay. If not, well, we'll see how you do. How many total hits did Johnny Damon have as a Royal between 1995 and 2000? And whoever ended up getting closest won it. So what do you think?
I think it was 894, wasn't it?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Ryan, you're a winner! And for getting it exactly right, Frank will give you a
firm handshake
and one of his gold gloves.
I've already given him a gold glove.
Ah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, I have it up here in the booth.
Okay.
He's digging it out now. Here we are, right here. He's got it on. All signed, sealed, and delivered.
Now all I need is Brennan Bosch to hit a foul ball back here.
You can catch that. You and all the other 20,000 kids last year that got those.
It was the one of the giveaways last year, and the thing that I liked about it was that they didn't just give away right-handed gloves like you were. They gave away gloves for us lefties.
Well, you had yours specially delivered to you by me, which makes it a lot more special. You didn't get it at the gate.
No.
You got it from me. And even little Micah had one.
I have to admit, I was a little choked up when you gave it to me. It was quite emotional when you handed this to me personally.
I love it.
That was a big deal.
Well, you always make a big deal about the caravan and all the people that endear me on the caravan, and just find out that you were close to those people. That was good.
Yeah.
In your emotions. That was great.
In fact, I'm getting a little choked up right now just thinking about it.
Well, Quick Trip shows us this line drive base hit in the right field. This is one of Zach's 96-mile-an-hour fastballs. Then Bosch turned this around and pulls it in the hole.
maybe you should give the glove back as an early present, Ryan.
Oh, that's right.
Happy early birthday to Frank. I think it's tomorrow, is it not?
Yeah. What, 70? No, he turned 70.
I was going to say 50.
Oh, well, we're not telecasting tomorrow night, so I thought I got away.
We're not telecasting because it's Frank's birthday.
Yeah.
When someone
going to turn the fountains off tomorrow, and we're only going to play with half the lights.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That would take me a long way back. That would take me a long way back. Half the lights. You know, that means half your life has been lived, and the other half you got to go. So we start at 60 though.
Okay, so 60 tomorrow. That's
yes.
Right.
We'll split the difference between 50 and 70, Ryan, and wish Frank a happy 60th.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We appreciate you, and I know a lot of people, most people listening tonight, feel the same way, and I'm sure that is a whack to the side of the head, thinking that you're going to be 60 when I'm sure a lot of Royals fans feel like that they watch you make plays like Josh Fields just did yesterday.
Well, Ryan, I can't believe I'm 60 tomorrow myself. I mean, I played till I was almost 40, and I think these last 20 years went pretty quick. You see Josh Fields right here, a broken bat. Ball kind of floated out there, but he did a good job smothering it right there and made a nice catch before it hit the ground. So he took like a good 2 steps and a dive. So that's still a good indication that his hips are in great shape.
And your beautiful wife Teresa's throwing a birthday bash for you tomorrow. We won't say where, otherwise all of Kansas City would show up.
Yeah, it would be almost like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. You do stuff like that, but yeah, she's doing something. I don't know all the details yet. I didn't have an opportunity to even see the invitation, so I don't even know what it looks like.
You are going to be quite pleased, I can promise you that. How mad would Teresa be if right now I just told you everything that's going to happen tomorrow? Right during the broadcast. Would she ever talk to me again?
How mad would Frank be if I put it on Twitter?
She would probably call Sarah, and both of them would never talk to you again.
Better keep it quiet, Ryan.
I couldn't go home.
I've gone as far as I can go. Now here's the Tigers' only real threat so far against Zach, who is over 100 pitches, and Brandon Inge goes into center field and will drive in 2. So with one swing, the lead is cut in half.
No, Zach would say this is a pretty good pitch. Yeah, quick, sharp shoulders. This fastball moved in. It actually broke his bat, Ryan, but he get in a good spot on the field, right up the middle of the field, where there's a lot of room. But Zach ran this ball in on Inge's hand, broke his bat, but he gave up a 2-run single on this plate, on this swing. But he would say that I got that ball where I wanted to get it.
So Zach had 102 pitches. Robinson Tejeda is ready to go when he gets the call. Just going to throw a pitch every now and then to keep the arm loose. All this started with a leadoff walk and a single. And with 1 out, 2 more hits, and Brandon Inge driving in 2. And now he's the tying run at first with 1 away. And Alex Avila at the plate. Changeup is low for ball 1. Avila has struck out and flied out to left field. One and one. Zach has gone 9, or make that 8 innings in his last 2 starts. 8 innings on Saturday at Cleveland. Ended up with a no decision. and then 8 innings against the White Sox here at Kauffman Stadium on August the 22nd. And another base hit into center field. And coming around third is Don Kelly, and the throw goes to second base, and it's a 1-run game. So 2 shots by the mound, and the Tigers have 3 in the 7th. And with 105 pitches and 2 runners on base, Royals are going to make a pitching change.
Well, Zach made a nice pitch, Ryan. The ball was going down and away, and Kelly just hit it right by the glove. We thought he should have caught that ball.
So Chevy called to the bullpen. Zach Greinke is out, and Robinson Tejeda is in. Zach Greinke hadn't allowed a single base runner at the end of 4, not one single hit, and a shutout through 6 innings, but only able to get 1 out in the 7th. The Tigers have 3 runs on 4 hits, and Robinson Tejeda comes on to face rookie Casper Wells with Brandon Inge at second base and Alex Avila at first. Oh, 0-1. Wells hit his first major league home run last night in Minnesota. The Tigers hit 5 home runs in that game and had 19 hits. So as Joel was telling us, they might have been a little sluggish when they got to the ballpark tonight after a very late or very early arrival, however you want to look at it. But feeling good about the way they have swung the bats. And we told you earlier that when the Royals were in Detroit on the last road trip, they outscored the Royals 24-8, and now trying to come back from an early 4-0 deficit tonight.
I was talking to first base coach Tom Brookins, and he was saying just what you said, Ryan. They got in so late, and they thought about not even going on the field. They thought about just hitting in the cage, and they figured, well, you know, let's get on the field, let's move around. Some of the guys haven't been on this field, and you get out there and you actually feel a lot better than you think you do once you get to moving around. I think you stay in the cage, you don't get that feel.
Billy to the dugout suite and just ran out of room.
Yeah, Billy's only hope there, Ryan, is to get all the way to the rail, grab it with your hand, and lean over as far as you can. But he sort of was real cognizant of what that rail was. So if you get over there with that right hand and search for that rail, now you can lean over and then give you a better chance to catch that one.
Deep but foul off to the left field side, and somehow got around on that pitch. That was in on his knuckles, and a fine catch made by a fan, a bare hand catch way down the left field side. protecting his pretty daughters.
Say, who needs leather? I got my bare hands.
Just down and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tejeda out for about a month with tendonitis to his right biceps. Went on the disabled list on August 1st. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Wells. Came off the disabled list on August the 29th. And the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
Wells has shown a lot of discipline this at bat. He's laid off some pretty tough pitches on the outer half of the plate. And as a young player, a lot of times you get them to chase those breaking balls. But right now, he looks like he's seeing the ball pretty good.
And that's drilled to center field. Blanco racing. It's off his glove. Almost made a terrific catch. Inge is being waved home, and he is out. Brian Pena hangs on to the throw from the outfield. So it looked like a bad break with the ball going off of Blanco's glove. Ends up being a good break with the runner being sent to the plate.
Well, that's true, Ryan. And you had the base runners. They were confused as to what they wanted to do. And Andrew went back. You know, Lamont's waving him all the way on this play, but he's out by too much. You know, Brian did a great job not only fielding the ball, but blocking the plate. You know, Andrew goes back to tag, and when the ball falls, now you look here. Now he's already got the ball before Andrew's even at home at third base. So this all it doesn't matter whether this throw is going to be a good throw or not.
And now ball 1 to Will Rhymes. So instead of the bases loaded and 1 out, first and third with 2 down. Will Rhymes glad to see Zach Greinke out. He is 0 for 3 tonight, thanks to 2 excellent plays by Zach on the mound. One on a ground ball in the first inning, and the other on a line drive in the 6th. And now Zach sweats it out from the Royals dugout. He had a 4-0 lead, 3 runs of score. That was with him on the mound, and still responsible for Alex Avila at third base. No swing. Dale Scott, third base umpire and crew chief. Remember when the season began, the Tigers were here on opening day, and rookie Scott Sizemore was the opening day second baseman. And now Will Rhymes has passed him up. Rhymes takes a 4-pitch walk. So the bases are loaded for Johnny Damon. Final game of this series in this homestand is on Sunday. It's a 1:10 game, and we hope you'll come out and then stay after the game to run the bases for free during the Sprint Fun Run. Also, don't miss out on a great deal. The Bases Loaded 4-pack. That gets you 4 tickets and $10 loaded value for concessions and merchandise. And you can get those tickets right now at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. So that throw to the plate is a big play now. Bases loaded, 2 down to Johnny Damon.
When you see a successful relay throw, this is what it looks like. The outfielder hits the first relay guy, and he's got an opportunity to make this play. And you see Brian Pena did a good job hanging in there in that situation.
Fouled away by Damon. Johnny is 0 for 2 with a walk. Talk so much about the relay throw to the plate, and Getz made a perfect one to Brian Pena, but as you said, sometimes we forget about the first throw. I mean, that play doesn't happen unless Gregor Blanco gives Chris Getz the feed he did. The game is going to be tied. The Royals' only win on this homestand came on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. That run is charged to Zach Greinke, so he will take a no decision. And who would have thought that would have been the case just an inning ago when Zach, in his first 6 innings, allowed no runs on just 2 singles.
Well, you really feel for him, Ryan. I mean, he had this game going the way he wanted this game to go, and then the walk kind of got things going. He made a couple pitches, they got base hits on, but it turns out to be another no decision. I mean, he had everything working for him. His fastball was there, had good movement on it. His slider, his changeup was good. Just couldn't stop the bleeding in the 7th inning.
Struck him out with a fastball away, but damage done. The Tigers match the Royals' bottom of the 2nd with 4 in this inning. Presented by Mass Mutual. Royals with 4 runs on 7 hits. Chris Getz has 2 hits. Yuniesky Betancourt has driven in 2 runs. And the Tigers with 4 runs on 7 hits. So Jeremy Bonderman, who is on the ropes in the bottom of the 2nd inning, giving up 4 runs, 5 hits in that inning alone. Since then, has allowed no runs on 2 hits. And this seemed impossible a few innings ago, but if he gets 2 outs in this inning, he will outlast Zach Greinke tonight. That should be out number 1. Ryan Rayburn in left field. Retires Mitch Meyer. So Mitch is 0 for 3 with a walk. Coming up on Friday, September the 17th, the Royals Live Barbecue Showdown returns. So test your tailgating savvy in a clash of great food and presentation. Enter your team by emailing us at royalsbooth@msn.com. You could be the next Barbecue Showdown champion. So 1 out to Billy Butler, who's 1 for 3. He could easily be 3 for 3. His 2 outs are line outs to the outfield. 2 balls and no strikes. Over the outside, 2-1.
Bodmer had that rough second inning, but since then, Ryan, he's put up 4 zeros back to back and kept himself in the game, and his team came back and gave him an opportunity to win this game now if he can hang in there.
So he's got 6 2/3 under his belt. And 2 away in the 7th inning to Wilson Betemit. Well, he certainly has done it the hard way tonight, and I mentioned early on that the Tigers have been careful with his innings and averaging less than 6 innings per start this year. And over his last 11 starts, he's only gone past 6 innings once, but he's 6 2/3 tonight. Right at 100 pitches, and number 101 is right on target to Wilson Betemit.
Well, early in the game, he was really, just rotating and leaving the ball to the arm side, and it was off the plate a lot. Now he's back with a straighter line to the target, and the ball's staying down a lot better.
Betemit is 0 for 4, and we go to the 8th inning, tied at 4. Tied up to the top of the 8th inning, and now Pinera will give us a look at the American League. Yankees win their 7th in a row, beating Toronto, and Tampa Bay keeps pace. They remain a game and a half back with a win at Baltimore. Chicago and Boston will play a day-night doubleheader tomorrow. White Sox trying to gain ground on Minnesota. They're 3.5 back in the Central, and Minnesota is down at home against Texas. The Angels are at the A's, and Cleveland is at Seattle. And the Royals with another Chevy call to the pen. This time it's Blake Wood, and he comes on in a 4-4 tie in the 8th inning. He'll get to 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Tigers scoring 4 off of Zach Greinke in 6 1/3. And then Robinson Tejeda recorded the final 2 outs in the 7th. And Ryan Rayburn launches it to left field, and it is inside the foul pole. And the Detroit Tigers have come all the way back, and they lead 5-4. Did I dream what happened in the first 6 innings?
It was a great game that we were watching.
A one-sided game too,
and it just turned around. You know, Quick Trip shows us this ball is right on the inner half, and we've seen Ryan Rayburn do this before, and he knew right away that he had this. Basically whether it's going to go foul or stay fair, but he knew he hit it far enough.
Fourth home run allowed by Blake Wood, and now Brendan Bosch, who has 14 home runs this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Royals scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and Jeremy Bonderman was hanging on by a thread. Tigers were warming up in the bullpen. Rick Knapp, the pitching coach, went out, and it looked like as much trying to help Bonderman as he was trying to slow things down so the bullpen would be ready. Meanwhile, Zach Greinke opened the game with 3 perfect innings, didn't allow a hit until the 5th, and at the end of 6 innings had given up 2 singles. That's it. I mean, the Royals looked like they were just going to cruise tonight. But the Tigers, out of nowhere, come up with 4 in the 7th inning and now 1 in the 8th. And Ryan Rayburn, who's getting a chance to play every day because of injuries, is making the most of that opportunity. We've talked so much about opportunity in regard to the Royals and getting a chance to play and set themselves up for next year. And Ryan Rayburn, with this home run here, just adding to what he's done with his opportunity. He batted .211 from April through July, and since the beginning of August, now hitting .318 with 10 of his 12 home runs. Look at the difference in slugging percentage from April, May, June, and July, and what he's done since the beginning of August.
Well, you take a look at this home run. I mean, this is way back there in left field. I mean, it's one that he hit very well, and he likes the ball down, middle in, and that was a fastball that was running in on his bat, and he really had those quick hands inside and drove this ball.
Reason we gave you a look at that bounce out in left field was because that home run was measured at 463 feet. I don't think it landed at 463, but after that first bounce, that might have been 463, but it clearly hits the concrete.
They count the roll?
I guess so. That thing's still going. Two balls and 1 strike on Johnny Peralta. He got the Indians' first hit tonight, and that came with 1 out in the 5th inning. Peralta has hit in 11 straight. 2-2. Back to Blake Wood. 2 down. Well, there's another guy, Frank, who has shaved off his beard. Have the Royals gone to a facial hair policy we're not aware of? Eddie Rodriguez, Royals third base coach, shaved off his mustache. And I think he told me that it's just the second time in like 28 years he's been without a mustache.
Well, they weren't in that first wave that we noticed had shaved their beard. Blake Wood was a little latecomer in that. I think Joaquin Soria is another one that has a beard.
Kanekoa Teixeira. Maybe Sean O'Sullivan is next. Joaquin Soria.
Yeah, he shaved the cheekbones.
Oh.
Must be a thing. No. No.
Why have the Royals all shaved off their beards? Well, to quote Frank White, who is simply just repeating what Benjamin Franklin once said, it's just a thing.
I mean, normally in September, when you know you're not going to the playoffs, guys start growing beards, getting ready for the winter and hunting and all that other stuff that they do. But this is a reversal here where everybody's getting clean shaven.
We saw that Kyle Davies still has his beard.
For now.
Don Kelly, who is playing at first base tonight with Miguel Cabrera out with a sore left arm. He has a 3-hit game, and he's had a good game defensively at first base. So that's the kind of game you would expect from Cabrera. A 3-hit game with a run scored.
There's the changeup. He just stays with this. They had good action on the changeup, but he was strong enough to bring it back into right field and, for a line drive base hit.
Brandon Inge got the Tigers back into the game in the 7th inning. And really their only scoring threat of the night. With the bases loaded and 1 out, Inge had a 2-run single that took the score from 4-0 to 4-2. Alex Avila drove in a run. And then the tying run coming home on a wild pitch thrown by Robinson Tejeda, and a runner coming down from third. And now in the 8th inning, Ryan Rayburn with a home run to left to put Detroit in the lead. The Royals have not scored since the 2nd inning. Line to right field. So the Tigers have 10 hits. Brandon Inge has 2 of the 10. And another trip to the mound for Bob McClure.
Brandon Inge usually pulls the ball, Ryan, but here you got the base hit up the middle for a 2-run RBI against Zach Greinke, and here he takes a fastball away and drives it into right field to change his approach in his last couple of bats.
I would think Bob McClure is just as shocked as everyone else. The way Zach was going, he figured he could stay on the bench all night with his seatbelt fastened.
Well, normally when your pitcher's throwing that well, I mean, if you see something out of whack mechanically, you can spot it, but that happened so fast, and Zach still didn't look like he was making bad pitches. I think that the Tigers just made an adjustment, and it paid off.
Good swing by Avila, and fouls it back to the net. He drove in the 3rd run in the Tigers' 4-run 7th. He is 1 for 3, and he came around to score the game-tying run on the wild pitch. Kelly at second base, Inge at first. A little bit inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Grounded right to Getz. He'll take the short out at second base. That puts an end to the inning, but Ryan Rayburn's home run puts Detroit in front for the first time. Yes, sir.
For the other day, why no shaving the beard? And he said, I didn't get the shave your beard memo. He said, plus if I shave it, I'll look 17, and I like the fact that we can wear a beard in the big leagues, which we couldn't in the minors. Shaves the beard, and look what happened. Just saying.
What's wrong with looking 17? Well, I guess when you're a young guy, you don't want to look 17.
You remember in high school, you get the little fuzz underneath your chin, and that little mustache is trying to grow. You want it to grow, and then when you get older, you hate it because you don't want to shave every day.
Deep to left field, hooking in the corner, and it is foul, just foul. And Josh Fields, if he hasn't done enough tonight in his Royals debut with a good night at third base on defense and a base hit and a run scored in his first at bat, almost tied it with a home run.
Wow, that's about as close as you can come right there. I mean, he's really centered this breaking ball right. You watch it when it goes by the foul pole.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Jeremy Bonderman still out there with 106 pitches, and with that pitch, that's a season high for him. Jose Valverde, the Tigers closer, he pitched 3 innings last night in Minnesota, so the bullpen might be a little bit thin, and Jim Leyland allowing Bonderman to stretch out. This is a good night to pitch. Game time temperature was 71 degrees. It's cooled down since. He has not gone more than 7 innings this year. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes on Fields. So I'm sure Jim Leyland was hoping that this would be a nice quick inning for him. Robbie Weinhardt is warming up on the left, and Daniel Schlereth on the right. Robbie Weinhardt was a September call-up for the Tigers. And after just missing a home run to tie the game, Fields strikes out. And Jim Leyland is going to come out of the dugout after 7 pitches and now 109 in the game. That's a season high for pitches. It's a season high 7 1/3 for Jeremy Bonderman. And it'll be Schlereth to face Alex Gordon. As the Royals were scoring 4 runs, not only does he get through the second, he gets 1 out in the 8th inning for a season high 7 1/3 innings, and that's pitching coach Rick Knapp talking to Bonderman. And I would think if I'm Rick Knapp, I'm hoping that every young pitcher, either in the bullpen or in the dugout tonight, paid close attention to Bonderman grinding through it after almost being pulled out in the second inning.
Well, you're right, Ryan. They could have easily been gone in that inning, and even he's got a big smile on his face. And probably the one thing he pointed at is the 5 walks, and that's one thing he's got to, every pitcher needs to continue to work on. But just to get through that, give up 4 runs in the second inning, and come back and put up 5 zeros and give his team a chance to get back in the game. And yeah, that's got to be a big feather in his cap tonight.
So Daniel Schlereth to face Alex Gordon, and got that one in on his knuckles. Alex grounded out in the 3rd inning. That was in between a couple of walks, and one of those walks turned into a run in the Royals' 4-run second inning. And a breaking ball makes it no balls, 2 strikes. Alex has faced this pitcher once, and he walked. Still 0-2. Schlereth, a first-round pick of the Diamondbacks just 2 years ago out of the University of Arizona, and made his big league debut last season. And then came over to the Tigers in that 3-team trade. The Tigers, the Diamondbacks, and the Yankees. Same trade that brought Austin Jackson to Detroit. Curtis Granderson went to the Yankees. Left-hander Phil Koch also coming to the Tigers in that deal. And Edwin Jackson going to Arizona from Detroit. And now Edwin Jackson is pitching for the White Sox. Belted to deep right field. Into the corner. The game is tied. So Josh Fields just missed. Alex Gordon didn't.
Alex Gordon got that hanging curveball run and really deposited it in the right field. After Schlereth got it to the outer half, it gave him some trouble, but he hung that one big time, and Alex didn't miss. see a curveball just stayed right inside, and Alex was right on it, and I'm sure he was looking for it, but wasn't looking for it in that area, and he just really hit this ball hard. That ball didn't take long to get out of here. That was a line drive right into the seat.
His 6th home run, his 14th RBI. So the Tigers and Royals with solo home runs in the 8th inning and keep the game tied. And now 3-0. Brian Pena doubled with an RBI and a run scored back in the 2nd. He has also walked and lined out to right field. And if the Royals can add on, or perhaps if the game is tied after the off day, we might see Joakim Soria in the top of the 9th. And a 4-pitch walk after the home run. And out comes Jim Leyland. And with left-hand hitting Chris Getz coming up, Jim Leyland is going to remove the lefty Schlereth and bring on a right-hander. Robbie Weinhardt, a right-hander, to face Chris Getz. Making his 20th appearance, his first against the Royals. He was just called up as the rosters expanded in September, but he also had a tour with the Tigers earlier this year. 8.38 ERA in his first 19 appearances. He is a ground ball pitcher and hoping for a ground ball in a double play. So no win for Jeremy Bonderman. He'll have to take a no decision after striking out Josh Fields. Jim Leyland bringing in Schlereth to face Alex Gordon. Alex ties it with a home run. Brian Pena walks. Getz fouls it away, and it's 0-2. Josh Fields, before striking out, almost hit a home run to left field. Just missed the foul pole. That would have tied the game. But Alex Gordon did tie it in the Chevy play of the game.
And good fashion, too, Ryan. A line drive into right field, deceived on a curveball from Schlereth, and that put the Royals back in a tie game and giving them an opportunity to win this game now.
And now Getz strikes out. So he is 2 out of 4, 2 down. And it's Yuniesky Betancourt. Uni hit a 2-run single back in the 4th inning. That gave him 67 RBIs, tying his career high from 2007. And Weinhardt throws strike 1. Tigers got Robbie Weinhardt out of Oklahoma State in 2008, taking him in the 10th round. A soft liner to second, handled by Rhymes, and that's the inning. The Royals get a home run from Alex Gordon and tie it. Of the 8th inning, so it's 5-5 to the 9th, and it will be Joakim Soria, with the Tigers sending up their 9-1-2 hitters. And this is nothing new for the Royals this year. A close game late in the game. The way the Royals have been winning lately has been by way of the one-run game. 11 of their last 13 wins have been one-run games, and the Royals, if they don't get it decided in 9, have played 16 extra inning games this year. Casper Wells 1 out of 3. He singled in the Tigers' 4-run 7th inning. The Royals with 4 in the 2nd, the Tigers 4 in the 7th, and both teams had a solo home run in the 8th. Ryan Rayburn for Detroit and Alex Gordon for the Royals. Tigers did absolutely nothing against Zach Greinke for 6 innings, but then surprised everyone with 4 runs against him in the 7th. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Wells. Robinson Tejeda pitched 2/3. Finishing up the 7th inning for Zach. Blake Wood pitched the 8th and gave up the home run to Rayburn. Grounded right to Betancourt. Wells is out. So a big turnaround for the Tigers, and they did it in a very short period of time. In the first 6 innings, Detroit had no runs, 2 hits, and only 3 base runners. But in the 7th and the 8th innings, 5 runs, 8 hits, and 10 base runners. And where did that come from?
It came out of nowhere. I definitely didn't see it coming, the way Zach was throwing the ball tonight, and it just seemed like the walks got it started, and kind of opened the door, and the rest of the Tiger hitters sort of followed.
Will Rhymes 0 for 3 with a walk, facing Soria for the first time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rhymes lost a base hit in the first inning on a fine play by Zach Greinke, fielding a ground ball. Then he lined to center in the 4th, and then he lined to Zach in the 6th. So it probably feels like he could easily be 3 for 3, but that's not what the scoreboard says.
He's got a pretty nice approach to hitting, though. I mean, just standing right there. If he does that a lot, he's going to get a lot of base hits hitting the ball like that through the middle. Most pitchers don't feel like Zach feels.
Uni to shallow left. What a play! Well, I'm no mathematician, but that's pretty good range.
Well, Uni goes to his right very well, Ryan, and this is an outstanding play. This ball is by him, and he stretches as far as he can stretch without going into a full dive, and really makes a great play. Look how much ground he covers in a short period of time. Just an outstanding play. It's almost like every night now he's doing something, either with the bat or with the glove. He just really excites you. And, you know, when you see defensive plays like that, that just excites a ball club, especially in a tie ball game in the 9th inning.
1 ball, 1 strike. Johnny Damon has had a tough night, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. He has been on base with a walk. One and 2. Against Soria, Johnny Damon is 1 out of 7. Joaquim has struck him out twice. 2 and 2. Royals have the top of the order coming up, and the bottom of the 9th inning. Gregor Blanco, Mitch Meyer, and Billy Butler. Three balls, 2 strikes. And we'll do it again.
Yeah, Joaquin can really make hitters take some odd swings, and that was a real defensive swing by Johnny on that pitch.
Still alive at 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Johnny's definitely in a defensive mode here, Ryan. You look at this pitch and just, I mean, look how far this ball moves. This changeup just moves well off the plate, and Johnny's just doing all he can just to foul it off.
And he does the same thing again. And he knows he's lucky to still be alive. He hasn't seen anything straight yet. Broke his bat, and it's still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a pretty good pitching right there. Just slow stuff away, and get him leaning out there. Not only bust him in with a fastball and break his bat. And Johnny, I mean, right now, I don't think he has a clue what's coming.
So with a new bat, he fouls it away. So he hasn't had any good swings yet. But the good hitter, so foul all the borderline pitches away. The question is, if Joaquin leaves one out over the middle of the plate, will he be ready for it after all those defensive swings?
Well, nothing's been in the middle of the plate yet, and
Well, he got one close to the middle of the plate there, broke another bat, and Getz throws him out. So we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll start with Gregor Blanco, who had an RBI triple in the Royals' 4-run second inning. With his bat and his glove, getting congratulations for this play in the top of the 9th.
Well, I don't think you make him any better than this. I mean, to be able to cover that amount of ground and dive and make this play, look how far he goes, and just an outstanding play at a crucial time in the ball game.
So the Royals will try and use that for inspiration as they go after Robbie Weinhardt in the bottom of the 9th. Weinhardt came on to get the final 2 outs of the 8th. Blanco, Meyer, and Butler coming up. And the ground ball pitcher gets a ground ball. And Peralta throws out Blanco. So Gregor is 1 out of 4. And now Mitch Meyer. Royals had a great scoring opportunity in the first inning. They got back-to-back walks from Bonderman, but failed to score. Blanco and Meyer taking walks. It looked like well, the Royals were hoping it wasn't a preview of things to come, because in the very next inning, the Royals had 2 on and nobody out, and they got 4 out of it. But didn't score again until 1 out in the 8th inning when Alex Gordon homered against Daniel Schlereth. And that tied the game at 5. The Tigers had come back from 4-0. They got 4 in the 7th. All those charged to Zach Greinke, and 1 in the 8th. Ryan Rayburn with a home run against Blake Wood. Two balls, 2 strikes. Another ground ball to Peralta. He was guarding the middle, so the Tigers had him lined up perfectly. 2 away. Gil Mesh getting ready for the top of the 10th. Billy Butler is 1 out of 4, but that's only part of the story. He has a single, but he is lined to right field, lined to center, and grounded out to third. So he swung the bat well, but only 1 hit to show for it.
Yeah, the way Billy swings, right, when he stays behind the ball, it's almost like he's always challenging the biggest part of the ballpark, because he tries to drive the ball straight away. So when he gets one, he's really got to hit it well to get it out of this big ballpark.
Over the inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Remember, the Tigers went 13 innings last night. They didn't have a day off like the Royals did. They played 4 extra innings, and Jim Leyland used his closer, Jose Valverde, for 3 innings. Right field and shallow. Wells is up, and it's going to drop in front of him for a hit. So Billy has his second, and the winning run is at first. Mike Aviles will run for him. And up comes Wilson Betemit. It's been a frustrating night so far for Betemit. He could change that here in the 9th inning. Grounded into a double play in the first. That ended that inning. Flied to left. That ended the 4-run second inning. And overall, is 0 for 4. 3 of his 4 outs have ended an inning.
Aviles has 7 stolen bases, but he has been caught 4 times. But I think the one thing that Ned Yost's looking for here is a guy with the ability to score on a double, and that would take care of a lot of things in this ball game.
Everyone getting their first look at Robbie Weinhardt. He's pitching his 20th game for the Tigers, but his first against the Royals. Two balls, 1 strike. Betemit so far on the homestand against the Rangers and now the Tigers is just 2 out of 16. Two and 2. Friday night crowd sticking around for fireworks after the game and hoping for some fireworks before that.
It could be a good game to win, Ryan. I mean, you carry that game all as far as Zach carried it, and you like to come back and win this game. It's 2 different games. I mean, it's like we start thinking about, well, maybe this could be a no-hitter, maybe it could be a 1-hitter, but all of a sudden it just turned into a complete different ball game. And he had some clutch. Raven hits a clutch home run for the Tigers. Alex Gordon hit a clutch home run for the Royals, and now here we are.
I would think right now the Tigers are feeling better about this game than the Royals are, but in the end it's going to be who wins the game. Royals look like they were going to cruise tonight. The Tigers with 4 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. They had the lead for a half inning. The Royals tied it on Alex Gordon's home run in the bottom of the 8th. Still 2 and 2. I think Betemit would like that pitch back.
He likes it up like that too, Ron. I think he'd like to have him back for sure. And right and left handed, he likes that pitch, and it's almost like his top hand slipped off the bat. It didn't get through that ball as well. So it'll be a big game for the Tigers tonight too, with a travel schedule, getting in at 4 in the morning, and if they can win this game and get a good night's sleep, they gotta feel better about tomorrow night's ball game.
3 balls, 2 strikes. So we know Aviles will be running now. So it's not about scoring from first on a double. It'll be scoring from first and a half on a double. Getting an early break. Don Kelly's going to make sure that lead isn't too big. And a big bouncer to Will Rhymes. And we will play extra innings. The Royals and Tigers are tied at 5. by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, field your wild side. Keila Kaihue will take over at first base. Mike Aviles ran for Billy Butler in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Gil Mesh is on for the 10th. So his second appearance out of the bullpen. It'll be Ryan Rayburn, followed by Austin Jackson, and then Johnny Peralta. Ryan Rayburn leading off the 8th inning, homered against Blake Wood. That put the Tigers in front 5-4 until Alex Gordon, with one out in the bottom of the 8th, homered, and that tied the game. 2 balls and no strikes. So Gil making his second relief appearance. Pitched a scoreless inning on Wednesday night against the Rangers, needing just 10 pitches to get through the inning. Two and one. The home run for Rayburn was his 12th of the year and his 10th since the beginning of August. He hit 2 home runs in the first 4 months, and now 10 home runs in just a little over a month.
That goes a long way toward next year and trying to solidify maybe a starting role on this ball club. But he really likes that fastball on the inner half. He's got some quick hands in there.
And he walks to lead off the 10th inning. Joakim Soria with a 1-2-3 scoreless 9th. And now it'll be Austin Jackson hitting for the first time. When the season began, the Tigers said that Austin Jackson was going to be their center fielder. They were going to stick with him all year. And that didn't end up being a challenge for them with the way he's played. Gil Mesh picks it up and flips to Keila, who stayed back to make Mesh run it down. So it ended up being a very close play. Jim Leland said that Austin Jackson would get a day off every now and then, but there haven't been that many days off with the way he's played.
Well, that's true, and they really just sing all the praises for him that you say for a first-year guy, a rookie guy. But that bunt play right there, Ryan, Keel's got to come down the line. Once the bat is square, he's got to come down the line, and Chris Getz is anticipating the bunt also, and he's coming over from second base. So that could have potentially been a mistake right there.
Interesting call, too, to make Jackson give himself up. I mean, with his speed, he's going to be a difficult guy to double up. And he was on base 6 times last night in Minnesota. So swinging the bat well, but Jim Leland has him lay down a bunt. Johnny Peralta hits it hard, hits it far, but he was out in front. So it's just a long, loud strike, 0-1. Johnny Peralta singled with 1 out in the 5th inning. And that was the first hit for the Tigers. In the first 4 innings against Zach Greinke, they had 1 base runner. That was a walk. Peralta and Don Kelly had back-to-back hits in the 5th, and then Zach had a 1-2-3 6th. The Tigers had 3 base runners, no runs in 6 innings. The Royals had a 4-0 lead. The Tigers scored 4 in the 7th, all charged to Zach, and 1 in the 8th.
The one thing about Austin Jackson, Ryan, is Jim Leland had a lot of different options he could have used him for other than bunting. But, you know, he has been a hot player, and, you know, there's always, but he also has been a strikeout guy, too. So he's been pretty conscious of that, too. There's a nice slider by Gil Metz right on the bottom half of the strike zone.
Pitch like that is when we need to point out at times that that grid is in the front of the plate. So it maybe hits the grid as it goes through the front of the plate, but Brian Pena received that throw well below the knees.
And I think that's what the fans are going to go. I mean, we know where the grid is, but the fans look at the height of the ball and how the catcher catches that low ball makes a big difference, too.
And Peralta strikes out. So Gil locked him up, and now there are 2 down.
Well, Gil using his cutter here, a cutter on the outer half of the plate, and Peralta was fooled by this pitch. Is on the outside corner. Good pitch by Gil Metz.
And now Don Kelly hits a ground ball to Betancourt. Low throw, and Keela bails him out. Woo. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Outside. Well, it seems like a long time ago, but Zach Greinke was just dominating the Tigers. Pretty much what he's done in his career. They tied it against him in the 7th inning. And here we are in the bottom of the 10th, and Ryan Perry takes over for the rookie Robbie Weinhardt, who pitched a very effective inning in 2/3. 2 years ago, Ryan Perry was the first-round pick of the Tigers, and the very next year he was in the big leagues. He'll get Josh Fields, Alex Gordon, and Brian Pena. Outside, ball 1. Josh Fields playing in his first game as a Royal. Went down with hip surgery in spring training. And pronounced at that time done for the year. But here he is making his Royals debut. Made a good defensive play early in the game.
That's a nice play to his backhand right here, Ryan. A nice smooth, always under control on that play. Made a nice throw, and this is his first hit, a base hit to left field.
And then he nearly tied the game with a home run in the 8th inning that was just fouled to left field. 2 balls, 1 strike. Right after him, Alex Gordon did tie the game with a home run to right field.
I just remember Josh Field's days with the White Sox. It seemed like every time you left a fastball middle end down, he didn't miss that pitch. He squared it up pretty good.
Two balls and 2 strikes against Ryan Perry. Josh Fields against the Tigers back in 2006 hit a home run in his first major league at bat. That was against former Royal Jamie Walker. Just missed with the slider. Perry wanted that pitch. Josh Fields, a former third baseman and quarterback at Oklahoma State. Got him with a fastball at 96. So 1 down, and now Alex Gordon, who tied the game with a home run in the bottom of the 8th. An at bat that began with Alex taking a bad swing on a curveball that was up around his hands. Fouled off a couple of pitches. Finally got a breaking ball he could handle. And hit a line shot into the seats in right field. One ball, 1 strike. Alex has only faced Ryan Perry once, and he's 0 for 1.
You know, Perry's got a big arm. He's got that slider at almost 88 miles an hour and fastball 96, 97 miles an hour.
That one at 98.
And that one where it's located is very tough to hit. That's going to be a tough pitch to handle, that 98 on the outside corner.
Fastball up at 97. Back-to-back strikeouts for Perry. Brian Pena with 2 walks, a double, an RBI, and a run scored. The only out he's made was a line out to right field. Royals should feel right at home in a game like this. They played 16 extra inning games. They have won 10 of those. Tigers have a losing record in extra inning games, and the Royals have won quite a few in dramatic fashion. They have 6 walk-offs, 2 of those coming in the 9th, and the last one was on Tuesday night on a wild pitch against the Rangers, and the Royals have 4 walk-off wins in extra innings. Popped up. Brandon Inge making the call and the catch, and we will play at least 11, tied at 5. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. A crowd of 17,835, but it seems much bigger than that. A high energy crowd in anticipation of the fireworks after the game. They've ended up watching a very entertaining game as Jesse Chavez comes on for the 11th inning. He'll get the lower third of the order. And if you weren't with us earlier, the Royals had a 4-0 lead until the top of the 7th inning. Zach Greinke was just sailing along. Tigers scored 4 in the 7th against Zach to tie it. And then Ryan Rayburn hit a home run leading off the 8th inning against Blake Wood. The Royals in the bottom of the 8th got a home run against Alex Gordon to tie it. And now here we are in the 11th. Brandon Inge is 2 out of 4. He had a key hit in the Tigers' comeback in the 4th inning with a 2-run single.
And that really was not a terrible pitch by Zach. He broke his bat, but he guided it up the middle, and that was a 2 RBI right there. And you know, he's actually changed his approach a little bit. All of his outs have been made either to center field or three to right field. I'm sorry, he's got a hit to right, and he's got the 2 fly balls to right. So everything that he's hit has been up the middle of the right field. He's just not trying to pull the ball quite as much as he normally does.
And that's grounded up the middle. Uni picks it off and from behind the bag throws him out.
It's a real nice play here. It's not as difficult as the previous play when he went diving in the left field, but any play up the middle is always a tough play for a shortstop, and he makes this play easily on Inge.
A rocket to right field. Mitch Meyer picks it off deep, and Avila takes a wide turn and holds with a single, and that's a good call on his part. That's Avila's second hit.
Avila hits the line drive right in between Keela and Chris Getz. This ball goes down in the line, and Mitch does a great job jumping on this ball, and a good turn to get back on top where he get the ball into second base, get it back in quickly. Did a real good job. One thing about Mitch, he's always going to hustle. He's always going to get it done.
Doing a little informal poll of some of the veteran players and some of the coaches, and asking among the so-called younger players on the roster who has the ability and the personality characteristics to be a leader. And almost everyone, the first name that came out of their mouth was Mitch Meyer. Keela to the dugout suite, and that's into the seats, just beyond the reach of a fan who brought his glove.
But that really doesn't surprise me after managing that in 06. I mean, he's always had those characteristics, Ryan. He's a guy that really comes to play every day. He plays hard every day. He backs up bases, does all the things that you should do as an outfielder, and even he understands his role. I mean, you never hear him talking about, I don't know my role. He just says, my role is to play when they tell me to play, and when he goes out there and play, he plays hard.
2 balls and 1 strike on Casper Wells.
He's had the benefit of playing with some guys that are, coming up through the minor leagues, and guys that had an opportunity to know him for 2 or 3 years, and they recognize those traits, back in AA, and then on to AAA, and even here in the major leagues, and playing with, Avilas and Gordon and Butler, those guys, so they understand.
2-2. Now the Royals just have to figure out what Mitch Meyer is. Is he a right fielder? Is he a center fielder? Is he a left fielder? Is he a 4th outfielder? Where does he hit in the lineup? Final game of the series against the Rangers, he hit 9th. And tonight he hit 2nd. They're still trying to sort that out. Still 2-2.
I think when you look at it defensively, from a fundamental standpoint, I think he would probably be a starter on most ball clubs. I think when you look at it from offensive side, now you're looking at the power numbers. Will he hit enough power-wise, in order to warrant playing every day? I think that's the big question right there with Mitch. But there's no doubt he knows how to play the outfield. He knows how to play all three of those positions out there.
Grounded to Fields, who blocks it, grabs it with his bare hand, and the throw is late. And Fields is hit with an error.
I think when you watch this ball, it's hit. It's not really hit hard, and he just kind of stayed back on it right there. Right, he takes a couple steps and be a little more aggressive on it. He catches it before it bounces, and then he's got a better chance to make the play at first base.
It's one of those plays where if he makes it, nobody's going to go nuts. But it's not as easy a play as it looks. But if you're going to make an error on that play, and Josh certainly didn't want to make an error, he was going to make an error blocking the ball and keeping it in front of him as opposed to letting it get through the wickets.
And that's the way that third base position is played. If you can recognize the hop right away off the bat, you can come up and get it. But you're better off to block it if you don't recognize it. He did it. He did what he's supposed to do in that case. I think what the official score probably looks at is how hard the ball's hit. He really doesn't see all the other things that we're talking about, but you have to recognize it off the bat, go get it. Otherwise, you have to do it the way you did it.
So the error, in your opinion, is not necessarily not being able to field it cleanly, but reading it better. So an error because of his feet, not necessarily because of his glove.
Right, definitely.
Kevin Seitzer told me once, a former third baseman, that he felt like, the way he put it, you field with your legs, you receive with your glove, if you can imagine that.
Well, your legs take you to the ball, and the faster you can recognize the hop off the bat, they tell you whether you need to back up, stay where you are, or come forward, and you just got to be able to read it and react to it.
It's been a while now, but I remember when Ray Sanchez was the shortstop for the Royals, and you were on that coaching staff. It seemed like he went the whole year without a bad hop, and that was because of his feet.
You got to have good feet. Now, if you're going to be a good infielder, you have to have good feet. Not only to take you to the ball, but also to be able to throw the ball, because you can't throw until your feet are set.
Driven to center field. This is a long run for Blanco, and it's over his head. Avila comes around to score. Wells is around third, and Rhymes goes blazing into third base with a 2-run triple.
Boy, take a look at this fastball. Chavez leads his ball right in the heart of the plate, and you wouldn't think Rhymes with his size would have this kind of power, but this ball jumps off his bat, hits it over Blanco's head to center field. And these are all the runs that are coming around the score. That Avila comes in. Everybody just scores on that triple. And here he decides, okay, well, I'm going to slow down, but I got a chance to go to third. I'm going to take third also.
And now Johnny Damon will be intentionally walked. I mean, Blanco was really shallow because, he got a pretty good jump on it. Not good enough to make the play, but he was running, it seems like forever. It landed over his head, and it still wasn't even anywhere near the warning track. It's not like it sailed over his head and landed on the track. Look at how shallow he is on contact.
But a lot of times that your outfield coach will bring you in for the signal to give you a chance to make a play at the plate. But he had no chance on this ball. This ball doesn't even hit the warning track.
Until the fourth bounce.
Yeah. So very shallow. Still shallow.
So Rhymes at third. Johnny Damon at first after the intentional walk. There was only one out and a strike on Ryan Rayburn. Rayburn has walked twice and he has a home run. That put the Tigers in front 5-4 in the top of the 8th. The Royals tied it in the bottom of the 8th. And now Detroit with 2 in the 11th inning. They are going to have 3 in the 11th inning. And Johnny Damon will go first to third.
But Chevette had a hard time locating his fastball around. This is up out over the plate, and Ryan Raven didn't pull this one. He went right with it to right field, right down the line. Just hit it just where it was pitched, out over the plate. And he continues to hit the Royals pitcher pretty good. So Rhymes comes down from third base for the 3rd run in this inning.
Dusty Hughes begins to warm up as Bob McClure went out for a chat. You know, as a broadcaster, I think it's important to not second guess a manager. And I remember Whitey Herzog, who's a Hall of Fame manager now, said he never would second guess a manager in the other dugout because you never know what's going on with that team in the dugout. And Jim Leyland knows more about baseball than I will ever know, and he knows his team better than I ever will know. But Austin Jackson, with 156 hits this year and swinging the bat very well, came up with the leadoff man on in the 10th inning. And Jim Leyland may have done the Royals a favor by having him lay down a sacrifice bunt. He just gave the Royals an out, and then Gil Mesh got a strikeout and a ground out and got out of the 10th inning.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He did have some options there, but the only thing I was looking at when you brought that up was the fact that he does strike out a lot, and he wanted to be sure that he can get his runner in scoring position in that tie game. So that would be the only thing that I would point to that Jim might have been thinking about.
There is a difference, I hope, in presenting things as all the different options that were available and second guessing a manager who's been to the World Series in both leagues. He's won it with the Florida Marlins and took the Tigers to the World Series in 2006.
Very successful.
Three balls and one strike. As far as position players go, I think Austin Jackson is a runaway for Rookie of the Year. And he lays down a squeeze bunt. Chavez makes a good play to throw him out, but a 4th run comes home. Well, there you go. Jim Leyland was just warming him up for a squeeze play in the next inning.
Well, this is a call. This is a call you wouldn't expect in that situation. But Jim Leyland's trying to tack on. The Royals get the last at bat, so the more runs you can get, the better off you're going to be. So, 2 bunts in the same game for Austin Jackson. One's a sacrifice, one's a squeeze.
And gets that 4th run. It becomes a non-save situation. And remember, we told you earlier that Jose Valverde, the Tigers closer, pitched 3 innings in Minnesota last night. So you figure he's unavailable. There's nobody throwing in the bullpen now. So Ryan Perry will get the bottom of the 11th inning and has at least a 4-run lead. Alex Gordon makes the catch. The Tigers send 8 to the plate, and they score 4. The Tigers tied it. They took the lead in the 8th. The Royals tied it in the bottom of the 8th. And now the Tigers with their second 4-run inning. All of that against Jesse Chavez, who has had a rough go of it since joining the Royals. Ryan Perry will stay on for the bottom of the 11th inning and has 4 runs to work with. It's Chris Getz, Yuniesky Betancourt, and Gregor Blanco. Ryan Perry looked very good in the bottom of the 10th with 2 strikeouts and a pop out to third base. Chris Getz has 2 hits, one of them a bunt base hit. One ball, 1 strike. Against Ryan Perry, Getz is 0 for 3 with a walk. Up the middle. And Peralta from behind the bag throws him out. And now Yuniesky Betancourt. 1 out of 4, and that 1 hit was a 2-run single, and the Royals 4-run second. They've only scored 1 run since. Uni has tied his career high with 67 RBIs with a month to go in the season, exactly a month. Season concludes on October the 3rd right here at Kauffman Stadium with the Royals and the Tampa Bay Rays. Into center field, and Austin Jackson is there to make the play. And I'm glad he did, because I wanted to finish the thought on him right before he laid down the squeeze bunt. As far as position players go, I mean, he's the American League Rookie of the Year. I guess if there was a pitcher that might give him a run, and I don't think it would be that much, you could look at Wade Davis, who has 11 games for Tampa Bay, and that's a contending team. 11 wins is nice for a rookie. I think he might be more of a challenge for Jackson if he was around 15 wins. So the Tigers made a good decision when they felt that Austin Jackson was ready for the big leagues this year. Not only turned over a premium position to him, center field, but they made him their leadoff hitter.
They didn't worry about the strikeouts. They really felt that getting used to the league, getting used to the pitchers, they're hoping that those strikeouts will go down next year. But you look at this departmental leaders for rookie batting, he's all over the place in pretty much every category. The last series of the year against Tampa Bay might be a big series if things keep going the way they're going. They stay close to the Yankees, or the game is pretty close at that point in the season. Could be a big series for the Royals against Tampa Bay.
And before Tampa Bay comes in, the Royals will have the Minnesota Twins here, and who knows where they will be in their standings. So that could be a homestand with some meaning as far as divisional winners.
Yeah, Jim Leyland said, you know, he really feels like they still have something to play for. He doesn't really like the term spoiler, because that means that you have no chance when you're the spoiler, and you hate to see your guys going out, you know, really getting all excited about spoiling someone's season when you want that same type of energy when you're talking about winning the season for yourself.
Well, the Tigers win tonight. They take game 1, 9-5 in 11 innings. Will Rhymes had the big hit in a 4-run 11th, a 2-run triple. Ryan Rayburn had a big night for the Tigers. He drove in 2 runs. So game 1 goes to Detroit, and we'll be right back.